Good morning and welcome to another episode of the former 4x3 podcast. Recently our township and the regions within the area that we live in were affected by bushfires. This hasn't occurred in a very long time. We have little spot fires in the region. We usually have it in this place called the Little Desert National Park. Now, the Little Desert National Park stretches across many kilometres. It goes from the Kayata campground all the way up to Dimboola and beyond Neil, and there are trails that you can do that will lead you 30 kilometres through the Little Desert. And this landscape is filled with shrubs, trees, and lots of wildlife. Now, this Little Desert, which has 132,000 hectares in total, most is still burning, and a lot of it is burnt to the ground. Now, this is very upsetting, as it will take a very long time to rebuild. Now, they try to say X, Y, and Z occurred. I won't get into any conspiracies, but it doesn't look good, and it looks like a business transaction to me. Now, on Monday the 27th of January, it was 40 to 45 odd degrees where I live, and the winds were high, and we heard strange noises in the sky, lots of aircraft before even the bushfire began. And we heard one thunderous clap, and that was it. And the town over from us, we have friends in the nearby town of Dimboola. They didn't hear any thunder or see any dry lightning, and nor did we. And the bushfires allegedly started, well, they've confirmed it started by lightning strikes that happened. Roughly 10,000 lightning strikes across Victoria, according to our newspaper. And according to the Vic Emergency app and the newspaper, the fire spread very rapidly. It was very quick, and we lost many hectares. The national park in one day than the Grampians fire that lasted 2 weeks to even reach the total amount, which is very strange because it had the same weather. The feeling is very odd. We have video that we've seen across the farmland which showed that the fire was towards Neil. Now, the reports are different for those in Dimboola. We have a mate over there that said the fire started in Dimboola, but it was my understanding, and is my understanding, that it started in Neil region and destroyed the Little Desert Lodge, which is up near Neil, and travelled our way. She's got reports that it started in Dimboola and travelled up towards Neil, which is very strange. Almost immediately, townships were evacuated, so Dimboola, our region, Pimpinio, Whale, all the way up to Horsham, when the roads were blocked immediately also. The advice from the Vic Emergency app happened very strangely. We weren't informed to evacuate straight away. we went from advice to it's too late to leave. Now, luckily, we have our own brains and we know the back roads. We didn't leave straight away. It took till the evening of the 27th for us to travel along one of the back roads and sleep in the car because we didn't actually bother to hook up the camper. What led to this decision was going along the back road, along Kayada South Road, and a quarter of the way up the road we seen an orange glow in the distance, and then we left immediately. Now, it was reported that our township had been destroyed and Dimboola had been destroyed, and from multiple sources and multiple people in the regions, they all heard the same story, and none of it was true. And the very next day, on the 28th of February, we were on the phone to our neighbour in Dimboola, which is 26 kilometres from where we live, and they had said what was reported burnt down hadn't actually been burnt down. And we thought the fire was over. It was a strange feeling. And then the next day, on the 28th, which is the next day, we drove down Kayada South Road and saw simmering fire, or simmering in the distance, and it didn't seem like anyone was attending that simmering fire that we saw. Not a fire, smouldering or smoke. And we went up to the campground region, and no roads were blocked or anything like that at this time, and nothing was burnt in that spot. Nothing at all. And so it seemed strange, and I came to the conclusion that they lied about what was burnt. Because I got reports that the entire campground had been burnt and the entire area had been burnt, but if you look at the landscape onwards into the distance, nothing was burnt. And on the 29th of February, the newspaper came out with 60,000 hectares had already been burnt, and by the 27th, the Vic Emergency app claimed it was 80,000. And it's very strange because I've also heard multiple people say that they are letting the little desert burn to save the townships. So it doesn't seem like they made any effort to actually try to save the little desert. I don't know how it could spread so rapidly without anyone attending the fire, when in the past they have actually attended fires and limited amount of hectares that have been burnt in the past. So I do believe that there has been a delayed response, and even when we saw the simmering smoke, I don't think anyone was stopping the spread of that. We evacuated or left on the 28th and went on a short holiday of about 9 days, and talked to our neighbours who are in the CFA, and the fire had soon spread to the wind farm on that very night of the day we seen this smouldering in the little desert. And then when we came back, I went for a little adventure, and the sign for the Kayada campground had been burnt. The land had been destroyed. and it's all gone now. And it's gone from the south of the national park, and then it's made its way to the north or opposite. So the entire Little Desert National Park will have been destroyed completely. Now, there's a lot of information that is very contradicting, and the response is very odd. And in Dambulla there are, I think they're tactical police which are present to ensure the safety of the community and stopping people from going down these blocked roads. And the major claim is they're stopping looters, and I haven't once heard any stories about looters. And there's just probably a lot of red tape surrounding this entire thing, as it's so surreal and it's happening. I mean, this hasn't happened before. Our township has been unaffected by fires for over 75 years, according to the locals. And the Little Desert Lodge, which was built in 1965, hasn't been affected by fires the entire time. And I don't think there has been a major fire in the Little Desert National Park for over 100 years. Lots of concerning things. And you know, the councils and governments can make claims of nature being responsible for this, but I honestly don't believe it for a second. Because how can all of a sudden after 100 years it's just gone up in smoke and it's just completely destroyed? Unfortunately, there's a long road ahead for us. Our township was nearly taken out or nearly destroyed by the fire. Yeah, it got close, 2 minutes from our house. So many questions from many people. And with that, my short story that requires a documentary, which I would love to do, I am out. Thank you for listening.